All right, we now move on and get started with this particular segment in the headlines, where we get to have a look at what the papers have for us today. And I have a copy of the Daily Nation as well as the Star. And just starting with the front pages of both the Daily Nation and the Star, the Daily Nation is a bit busy today. Quite a number of stories have made their way onto the front page. The two stories down the head, and number one is concerning civil servants who are set to get an improved NHIF cover scheme with additional benefits. This has been covered on the back page of this particular daily. Then the other story is in concern to the education, and more particularly the CBC curriculum, as parents have come out to complain the huge number of homework and costly activities that come with this new curriculum, with some saying that it is a bit discriminative, given not all parents have the same educational capabilities and financial capabilities to be able to fulfill some of these activities and assignments that our children are being sent home with to do with their parents. Now, coming to the main read, 2022, the Ryla factor splits Oka Chiefs. When it comes to the Alliance's own internal analysis, which has put Kalonzo Musyoka and Mudavadi ahead of the pack as the flag bearer and running mate, while leaders of the nascent alliance agree on many issues, accommodating ODM leader Raila Odinga in their lineup for next year's poll remains the elephant in the room, but he is a factor that cannot be ignored. Matters concerning COVID-19 is in regards to the low vaccine uptake here in Kenya, and according to experts, this puts Kenya at a risk of global isolation, given we did see the US following suit after UK extended its blacklist on Kenya. We also did see the US under the recommendation from the CDC giving Kenya a level 3 limitation when it comes to the access to some of these countries. I'll be giving you these details in a bit. And finally, the Embu brothers, 6 police officers face murder charges. That is what the front page of the Daily Nation looks like this morning.
Now, I have the copy of the Standard, and I want to give you just a brief overview on what has taken, or rather captured, described this morning. So, matters of politics. We all know where we are. We are in that campaign season. Some are arguing, observers are arguing that we have started a little bit too early, but it's never too late or too early in politics. That's what they say. You strike when the iron is hot and when it favors you. Now, decisive movement for Oka in crucial talks. There's been a lot of speculation as to if the former premier and leader of ODM, Raila Odinga, is going to be the flag bearer. Remember, we've been having this conversation that they announced that they're going to pick the flag bearer for ahead of the general elections 2022, but it has not been said. But what we are seeing is that he's likely to be the candidate. So what happens to the former NASA heads, so to speak? And I'm using that term sparingly. So there's been a lot of conversation about building coalitions and alliances of need and want. Now, the scribe this morning has chosen to go with coalition building. The question of how and when to pick the One Alliance's 2022 flag bearer set to feature as a technical team of Wiper, KANU, ANC, Ford Kenya present proposed roadmaps that includes manifesto, colors, and symbols. So when we say Wiper, we all know we're talking about Kalonzo Musyoka, who is a Wiper party. When we say Ford Kenya, we're talking about Moses Wetangula. And when we say KANU, there's Gideon Moi, the senator of Baringo there. We have ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi. Coalition of need ahead of the 2022 general elections. Further on, we have an update on what is happening across the globe. There's a question of now, after that win, epic win by Zambia's former, now we're referring to former opposition, now has become the president there. So what happens Does this create an avenue to bring, former president, that is Edgar Lungu, closer to the table? We'll be giving you details. Also, we have this news from the counties that we started off our bulletin with. That is the indictment, rather the suspension of officers of a killer brew in Nakuru. Then Akasha twin girls missing for 2 weeks. We have been following up this Akasha story in regard to the fight against, drugs. And now the development is that now the Akasha twin girls are missing for 2 weeks. There's a lot of speculation around that issue. So those are the stories that have found themselves on the front page of the Standard this morning, being the 17th of August 2021. Doreen.
All right, now let's come to the People's Daily, and perhaps you can begin with Matters Health, whereby a report by WHO is now ranking Kenya, or better still placing Kenya at the 4th in the highest number of depressed people in Africa and 9th globally. Of course, this has been because of the various cases we've been hearing or witnessing on mental health issues, the killings that have also been going on. But in regards to that particular report that has been released that was released by WHO, we are now seeing various counties across the country just trying to come up with new forms and new approaches to fight mental health stigma. So perhaps which new ways are these? Are they any different from what we are used to? This particular article has well highlighted that, and I'll be telling you all about that in just a short while. Also, when it comes to the two Wambui brothers, the DPP has now orders arrest of 6 cops over killings of Wambui brothers. We, of course, saw how Kenyans especially came out on social media to call out whatever that particular incident that happened there in Wambui. But now the DPP has given an arrest warrant to those 6 cops that have been found or that have been linked to those killings of the Wambui brothers there. And again, when we come to matters politics, it's D-Day for Oka as Raila launches bid where the One Kenya Alliance chiefs meet in Naivasha to discuss a report on future of union, while ODM leader on the other side launches his countrywide campaigns in the same county in readiness for his 2022 bid. And also the report should contain the method of picking the flag bearer and how the alliance will operate. That is the One Kenya Alliance. This story on this particular article well covered from page 4 through 6 of the PD. So again, just means there's a lot when it comes to that particular bid, or perhaps even as we gear up for 2022 for Okoa Kenya Alliance and also for Raila Odinga. There on matters sports, Olympics teams now to get goodies from the president, whereby the heroes of gold medalists will take home at least 1 million Kenyan shillings. The silver winners 750,000, as well as the bronze winners will take home $500,000. At least some good news there for our athletes who did us proud in the concluded Tokyo Olympics. And again, teachers risk missing salary over COVID-19. We saw this last week, whereby civil servants were being urged to go and take the COVID-19 vaccines, but a good number of them are coming out to just complain in the way in which they were being asked to actually go take this COVID-19 jobs. But now the Teacher Service Commission has given more than 200,000 tutors a 7-day ultimatum to get vaccinated or face disciplinary measures. So which are some of these measures that they're set to face if at all they don't adhere to this 7-day ultimatum? Details of that in just a short while.
Now let's get to these details that we have promised you, and we start off with this story concerning our athletes. It's not on the front page of the Daily Nation, but is on the third page rather. Olympic heroes to get cash rewards, and this comes after there was such an uproar on social media from many Kenyans saying that we did not accord our athletes the grand re-entry back home that they so deserved, as opposed to many other countries. We did say Uganda, they had a welcoming party, and many other countries. So Kenyans took to social media to compare how we received our athletes as opposed to how other countries received their athletes, and so many were disappointed, saying some of these athletes were arriving in the middle of the night. There weren't any government officials to welcome them back, or any representatives from the sports docket to welcome them for that matter. An example like Eliud Kipchoge, who is said to have arrived at around 1:38 a.m. Thursday morning. He was met by a few government officials, but it wasn't as grand as people thought it ought to have been. But speaking to this, we did see the government spokesman Oguna come out to say that they could not give this grand welcome back to our athletes due to the COVID-19 protocols and containment measures that have been put in place to help curb the spread of COVID-19. But the government will reward the athletes who won medals during this Tokyo Olympics with money. So President Uhuru Kenyatta, while meeting the athletes and representatives of the State House in Mombasa, announced cash rewards for the gold, silver and bronze medalists with 1,750,000 and 500,000 respectively for these medal holders. And he also announced a token of 200,000 for all the athletes, officials and for the Paralympics team that is set to participate in games scheduled for the 24th of August this coming week. Now, he also went on to call on the Ministry of Sports to work with partners to establish a system of identifying young talents and developing them over the years so we can have many more people, a larger pool of athletes to represent us when it comes to some of these games that we get to participate in as a country. So many people had so much to say about this. I don't know what you guys think about this.
Maybe Doreen can go first, then I can give the developing stories because we have a couple that we need to be focusing on today.
Yes.
Doreen.
Okay, I really think that we are, how do I put it?
Did we jump the gun in criticizing the government for not giving our athletes a grand welcome at the airport?
If we didn't, I mean, what could they have done? Let's just be very honest. And then we keep blaming everything on COVID. Because of COVID, we cannot do A, B, C, and D. Because of COVID, we cannot. What's just a simple grand entrance to these athletes? I mean, they did us so proud in those Tokyo Olympics. And let me tell you for sure, if Kenyans perhaps couldn't have criticized or complained, I really don't think, my personal opinion, I really don't think they would have done something, because why are they just giving this prizes or rewards now after that criticism? And I mean, by the time we were already announced and by the time we already knew of how much these athletes had made Kenya proud, that is when they should have announced of how much you're going to give, 1 million for gold, 750 for silver and all that. Why did they just have to take some form of criticism?
Okay, I'm with you on that, Doreen. And what we need to know is that this awarding of our sportsmen and women is not a new thing. Actually, President Kibaki started off this awarding of our athletes. And I think, Doreen, you're in the right path in this conversation, because we have had athletes, even others who have done us proud, complain that the government does not invest in them as it should. These are our brand ambassadors, but we let them down. The government lets them down. Look at how much, or rather how many athletes in those races, if you were watching the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games, when you read Chepchirchir, you're like, that's a Kenyan, but hey, no, they're running under a different flag. They're representing a different country. Why? Because here we do not honor people who go out of their way to represent us as brand ambassadors. And what I am sure of, if those pics of them silently arriving did not go viral, maybe the government would never have said anything about it. I think it's just PR. Unfortunately for me, it looks like PR. They are trying to safisha image and all that stuff. I mean, in Uganda, people are getting vehicles and homes for their parents and millions of shillings.
And it's not taking the country to complain.
And even you can't look at, I mean, they brought bronzes and a few silvers. You can't compare with our medal standing. But hey, it's a high time we started honoring our sportsmen and women, because these are our brand ambassadors. If you're buying Kenya and building Kenya, let's not just say it in verbatim, let us do it in action. Now, over to the developing stories, because we're running out of time. Remember, we are all watching what is happening ahead of the 2022 general election. Some observers have come out and said that we have started it a little bit too early, but nonetheless, we are here. We are just some days to this general election that has been pegged for August 2022. So today, the One Kenya Alliance, OKA, will be unveiling its roadmap to 2022 general elections. As you know, the principles I've mentioned there, that is Kalonzo Musyoka, Moses Wetangula, we have Gideon Moi, Musalia Mudavadi, have begun their 4-day retreat at the Great Rift Valley Lodge in Naivasha, and we have a team down there. And the 8-member technical team that is chaired by Karanja Maina is expected to present the alliance's proposed manifesto, coalition colors and symbols. So that is one of the stories you're going to be keeping tabs on, and also development in as far as the security cases we have just highlighted. Now not talking about the Kenjokoma two there, the Kenjokoma brothers. Now we're talking about the grisly lynching of 4 young men in Kitengela last week, and now according to the DCI is that the prime suspect behind last week's grisly blood-curdling murder of 4 men in Kitengela has been arrested by detectives. Now, Benson Melonie Olemungai, aged 40, was arrested from his hideout in Kitengela town last evening, where he had been hiding since he masterminded the killings. His arrest comes few days after the DCI took over the investigations into the murders and moved with speed to pursue the killers. Now, Olemungai was positively linked to the brutal killings after a forensic investigation placed him at the scene of the crime, where it was established that he led and coordinated the killing of the 4. You can get on the official Twitter handle for the DCI, get to read what they have put out there. And there's a hashtag that has already been made there, Fichua kwa DCI, or you can call this number 0800722203. If you have any information that will help the authorities bring these perpetrators to book. Life still remains very precious, but over the last few weeks and months, some few elements here have decided that that is a price that they're willing to pay. So if you have any information, you can get onto the DCI official Twitter page on Twitter. There is a number there that has been shared. Give information that will lead to the arrest of these people who've decided to end the lives of these young 4 men. I'm Regina Manyara. You've been watching In the Headlines. We are not done with Good Morning Kenya, so do keep it right here. The team is here to keep you abreast on matters current affairs as well as matters that are close to our hearts.